Good evening, everyone. It's good to see you. This is Lee Molet, and I am here solo for at least for a little bit for Women on Women with Grit. We are looking forward to our conversation this evening with none other than DeLisa Guerrier, the CEO and co-founder of Guerrier Development and Guerrier Construction, as well as the famed, everybody's talking about it, Storyville theme park, which is happening here in Middle Tennessee. So I am excited to have her on as our guest. My partner, Sherelle Lands, will be on with us a little bit later. Um, you know how it is. She's tied up in some meetings and trying to get to us. But before we get started, let me thank our sponsors. First and foremost, we want to thank MJC Insurance, mjcins.com is the way you can reach them. You want to holler at Brianna. The cool thing about them is that they have the opportunity and ability to shop numerous companies to really find the best fit for you and your family, for your homeowner's insurance, your auto insurance, your motorcycle insurance, rental insurance, any kind of insurance you need, workers' comp, any type of insurance you really need. They're there to help find you, to find for you. And also, when you talk to Brianna, ask her about umbrella coverage and let her explain to you how umbrella coverage works and why it's beneficial to you. So MJC Insurance, thank you very much, Mr. Leon Wright, the founder of the company. Next, I want to thank Terrell Perry at Molet Investment Services. Terrell is there to help you put together your financial plan. So, hey, we're coming down towards the end of the year and everyone's thinking about their goals for next year. And we always talk about the fact that we want to get our financial house in order. Well, this is the time to reach out to Terrell, and you can reach him at Terrell, Terrell, at Molet, Molettte, investmentservices.com. Terrell at moletinvestmentservices.com. He'll be happy to help you get your financial house in order and get your plan ready and in place for 2022 so that you can have the best 2022 from a financial perspective as you have ever had. The other good thing is he'll help you plan your generational wealth. It doesn't just happen because you say you want to have generational wealth. You actually have to plan it. So he'll be there to help you plan that. And then lastly, if you need life insurance, he's the man to talk to, whether it's term or universal life or any type of permanent policy, disability, any type of insurance. Make sure you give Terrell a call. Again, Terrell, Terrell, at moletinvestmentservices.com. And of course, I want to thank my co-host, Ms. Sherelle Lands, and her company, Vision Strategy Management. You can go to their website, Vision Strategy Management, and Sherelle has all the cool stuff. I mean, it's all the stuff that help you get yourself better, from helping you really kind of coach you through your career and your business and life in general, and really helping you really look introspectively and pull your vision out. And then even more importantly, make sure it doesn't sit on the shelf. You know, so many people's vision just sits on the shelf, and she's going to help you implement it, execute, and get it rocking and rolling. We want to thank The Table. Check out thetableaction.com, thetableaction.com. That's the website. And after you've checked it out, holler back at me and let me know what you think. Lastly, we want to thank Frank Stanton Developers. And Frank Stanton Developers is here to develop numerous properties. A lot of people have family property and they're looking to develop it and they don't know what the heck to do. Call Frank Stanton Developers, 615-300-7862. And yours truly will answer that call and help you put together a plan to develop your family property or your personal property so that you can keep it in your family. You don't have to always sell it to folks like me. And then a little bit later, we're excited to talk to you about our brand new sponsor once Sherelle jumps on. All right, with that in mind, I'm going to bring on our guest, Mrs. DeLisa Guerrier of Guerrier Development. Hey, and friends, make sure you are ready to ask questions and find out about real estate and just building a business and coming up with your vision and executing and all the things it takes, because DeLisa is the bomb. She's going to be able to help you. So let's welcome our guest for the evening, DeLisa Guerrier. Hey, DeLisa.
Hey, Lee.
Hey, how are you today?
Doing great. Thanks so much for having me here.
Good, great. Well, thank you for agreeing to join us. We're just really excited to have you here. Um, with Women with Grit, we really strive to find women that are doing exceptional things that may be going kind of somewhat unnoticed. And we're not trying to out you, but we know that there are other women that need to hear from you and learn from you. And
Yeah.
quite frankly, right? And quite frankly, it's not just women that listen to this or just watch. We have a lot of guys that will watch and ask questions as well, because it's just one of those things where if you're doing it and you're successful, people want to learn from you and understand what it takes to get there. So thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks so much. I've been hiding behind the books, so so thanks for having me.
Yes, bringing you out of the shadows,
Yeah.
out of the planning phase. Now, as I mentioned, you're a successful real estate developer and contractor, and that's not really a field where you see a lot of women.
Mhm.
So, talk to us about how you found yourself in that business.
Oh man, such a journey. I definitely did not set out to do this. I was biology pre-med,
Oh wow.
headed to medical school. I found my way to Tennessee through Fisk University. I
Okay.
later went to Tennessee State and graduated there. But as I was headed to medical school, I met my husband, and he owned a company at that time. He was in the automotive industry. And I was really met with the choice of, do I go to medical school or do I stay here and help him to grow his company? And ultimately, I chose the latter. And we grew that company from about 100,000 a year to just under 10 million a year.
Oh wow. Okay.
And it wasn't it it was a few years to do that, but throughout that process, simultaneously, I was heavily involved in the real estate market. It was sort of my joy. It was my thing, and it excited me. Um, One thing led to another, and we hi. One thing led to another, and we ended up purchasing land. We had clients that came to us that needed help, and they were in this crazy market. Some of them had 13% interest rates. They were about to
Hmm.
be foreclosed or would have to short sell. And so we invested in their homes, moved them out, caught up their mortgage. And that's really what fundraised for us to begin developing. So before we knew it, we owned land, quite a bit of land across Nashville. And
Hmm.
we would hire builders to come in and build for us.
Okay.
And after you realize where the mistakes are, you say, well, I'd rather pay for my own mistakes than, somebody else's. But it was a great learning experience for us. So I went and took the test and
Okay.
became licensed for residential, commercial, and industrial construction. And
Gotcha.
yeah, it was a fun journey. So now, we really took the organic approach of just growing small, and then the
Hmm.
projects just grew bigger and bigger in size. We were in this sweet spot for a while where we were able to get the the deals that were too big for the small guys and too
Hmm.
small for the big guys.
Right.
And that naturally grew into the multifamily market, and obviously Nashville is huge right now in multifamily. So that was
Right.
sort of our story. I was inspired by several things, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. So
Okay, well, thank you for that. My homie, my co-founder, co-partner in crime, Sherelle, has joined us.
Hey, so sorry I'm late. I'm so excited to actually be sitting with you, DeLisa. So thank you for your time. Hey, Lee.
as well.
Hey, Sherelle. So I was just going into your question, Sherelle. Um, you want to do it, or you want me to do it?
You know what? You go ahead. I'll jump in.
All right. So, DeLisa, thanks for kind of the intro into how you got into the real estate business. But again, as I mentioned earlier, this is not a field where you find a lot of women. Um, and I know being in development and construction, it's difficult in and of itself. You know, from a number of factors. Race does have a place in it. You know, I can't speak from being a woman in it, but you know, knowing that I don't see many women in it, I know that you have to, just to be me to do it, you got to have some grit. So I can imagine being you even have to have more grit. So talk to us about, you know, your story of grit and your unique story of grit that's really helped you get to where you are now.
Well, I'll say that I cheated in that I was able to watch my mother.
Okay.
And I say that jokingly, but seriously, she is the first Black woman to ever be hired for the Port of San Francisco. She's a pile driver.
Okay. Oh wow.
And she is just so growing up and watching her, and she's very classy. She's very womany, you know. She's beautiful, and she would put on her Carhartts, you know, put her hair up, and she would go out there. But it wasn't necessarily the work; it was how she carried herself.
Mm-hmm.
And she demanded, you know, the respect of the men. And of course, she was hit with challenge after challenge, as you guys can imagine. But to know that now she's gotten to a place where most of the men that are around her won't even cuss around her. And you know, in a construction industry,
that's big,
pretty massive. But just seeing her carry herself that way, so getting into construction myself, I realized that it wasn't about the work, it was about the way that I carried myself. And you're right, it is not easy. And there's so many microaggressions. There's so many people who come to the table already. And this has happened quite a bit. My husband and I laugh, where on the construction side, they'll go up to him and start saying, you know, well, you're the contractor. And then he'll look and he'll say, no, she actually is the one that went and took that 9-hour test.
I can't imagine him sitting that long. So
he wouldn't have made it. But no, he knows a lot about the development world as well. And he has his strengths, but I think that team effort of knowing where your strengths are has really been a fuel for us working together, but also for me and just sharpening myself in that way.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know, really quickly, I looked at that video of your mom, and you said she was a pile driver. I mean, it's amazing. Lee, we have to get her on the show at some point.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Yes, it's amazing. And I definitely read an article on her as well. So, you know, that's just phenomenal. But that to me exemplifies grit, especially being able to do it in such a space or time where it's not traditional to have a woman pile driver. And for her to do that and do it successfully. Sorry, I don't want to get into your story. I was just so I was so intrigued by it. I was just like, you know, she did it. And then with you guys as children along the way, I mean, it was just amazing. And not only that, it was something that she really enjoyed. So we'd love to hear her at some point in time.
Yes, sure. She would love to come talk to you guys. But watching her was the biggest inspiration. And really it removed the barrier for me. It removed the cap that, you know, and she said on one of those videos, you know, I wanted to show my children that they could do anything.
Yeah.
And so.
Gotcha.
That has definitely been phenomenal. And in doing that, and Lee, I'm going to steal one of your questions, which is what has been the aspect of your husband or the role that he's played in helping you succeed in, you know, being a female developer?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I could say so much. So first, there's this interesting balance because my husband has this very unique mind. And I don't know if it's just who he is or how he grew up, but usually however everybody is thinking about it, he's thinking about it totally opposite, but it makes sense. And so when it comes to putting deals together, acquiring, you know, that is his strength. And for me, you know, when it comes to the numbers, the vision behind what needs to happen there, that's sort of my side of the coin. And So we've had a very interesting balance working with each other. But one thing that I hugely, I'm sorry, he's been a huge support system for not only me but all women, just that are in CEO positions, or just really stepping out to do something for themselves. And as his wife, I still never come to, it doesn't matter what table we're in, I never sit at the head of the table, but he welcomes that, because he wants women, in these positions to really be heard and seen, and he recognizes that we wouldn't be where we are if it weren't for the both of us and both of our strengths.
Yeah. So, and now as you think about, your mom modeling for you, you have a daughter,
Yes.
and you have a son. What are you trying to model for them, and how's that working out? And I know they're young, so you'll find out later on a lot of it. But
that's right. I know. I'll find out if I did it right. It's an interesting journey. I think that if I were just focusing on real estate development, that would be one conversation. But because we have the park, which is a huge undertaking, it has required sacrifice on their side, just because of the time that it takes. And I don't know if the two younger ones are old enough to understand, but I would hope when they were older for them to realize that the only limitations that there are the ones that you set on yourself. And it sounds so cliche, but it is so true. And when you know that you are walking the path that God put for you to walk, I'm sorry to go biblical. I'm not sorry, but
that's all good. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you are walking that path, that the only person who can stop you is yourself. And that is what I truly would hope that they would know. And and the Bible says that he gives us the desires of our heart. So finding the work that you do in your life to actually be fulfilling is something that I would want them to really focus on when they get older.
Gotcha.
I love that. Finding the work that you're doing to be fulfilling. You talked about being a woman in the real estate, and you said it wasn't about the work, it was all about how you carried yourself. Is that something that, can you expound upon that a little bit more in terms of how you carried yourself in the real estate world, and how other women can embody that as well?
Right. And I think that it's just, number one, being around in the male dominated industry. I think things have been things before. Lines can get crossed or very easily. And just having the integrity and knowing, just even in the way that you dress, it's something that to me is important and says so much more than what words do. Right. But then I also think that I'm the type of person where when I don't know, I come to the table a little bit more quiet. And I'm okay with that, because I want to absorb. I want to ask the questions, and I think that it's okay, and it is a strength to know when you don't know it all. But to surround yourself with people that you can pull on and ask questions. And I give speeches, if you will, all the time, and say that the biggest three things that to me get projects done are the people, which is the team, the package, which is actually being able to show the vision, but also the purpose, and having a purpose that's more than just a bottom line. But essentially surrounding yourself with that right team that you can pull on to ask questions is so important.
So what are some of the aspects that you look for when you're putting your team together? What characteristics are you looking for in your team members?
It varies so much. So it's not unfortunate, but one of my soft spots is relationships. I would choose a relationship over, if two people submitted a bid for something or proposal, and there was a relationship that was stronger with, with one, I would probably choose that one over that bottom line, because that's big for me.
Okay.
And to me, the relationship with us and our company also usually translates to the relationship between that person and their network. And so many, the degrees of separation are so small. And usually if you don't have something, someone in your network does.
Right. Yeah.
And having that strong relationship, they will open up those doors for you and you'll get there faster. So.
Gotcha. So yeah, that's, it's interesting. So many people think in terms of doing deals based on the bottom line versus the relationships, and don't really realize, sometimes, paying a couple more dollars for somebody you have a really good relationship with may actually cost you less in the long run, because they're just always looking out for your best interest, and because you have that relationship. And they're not as quick to necessarily always bill you for everything. Oh, I drove down to the mailbox. I had to go anyway. When you have a relationship.
That's right. And isn't it interesting that you can feel in those relationships when it is about the bottom dollar opposed to actually the work? So it's something I'm so sensitive to, and I thank God just for that sensitivity. Yeah.
And I think that you can't pay for that peace of mind, right? You talked about the integrity and making sure that you are in relationships, business relationships with the right person, because when you go to sleep at night, you know that they've dotted the I's, they've crossed the T's, and not only that, but you've got that sense of intuition of feeling that it's the right fit. And that right fit, to your point, Lee, basically helps you to have that long-term peace of mind at the, while the project is well established and well underway. So, you can't pay for the peace of mind of having the right relationship or being in the right relationship in business.
Right.
That's such a good point.
Yeah. And of course, I'll reach out to people I know in the same business and find out who they're using. So
word of mouth, right?
Yeah. So I reached out to DeLisa and LD for somebody, for a project that I'm working on. I said, well, hell, they're using them. So they've already vetted them.
Right. They say we do business with those that we know, like, and trust, right?
Right.
And that's definitely part of it.
That's right.
And of course, the other side of it is if you mess me over, then you may wind up losing 2 good clients, as opposed to just me, because I'm gonna go back to the people that referred you and say, hey, you got to watch them.
That's right.
we need to find somebody else.
That's right. So DeLisa, tell us a little bit about, like, as you have been on your journey, we found that, a number of our guests have oftentimes either hit a wall or had some type of self-limiting beliefs or thoughts about themselves that they had to overcome. Have you found that to be true for you? If so, what has that been and how did you overcome it?
Oh my goodness. I was just having this conversation this past weekend with my husband that success is a decision. And it is a decision that you have to make every single day. And not only success, but just moving forward. It's always so many things coming at you. There's so many things that will always come up that will put up barriers. And the only way that it could stop you from doing what it is that you set your mind on doing is if you decide to stop. And, so for me, it is having that conversation within myself that, if you hit a wall, there are so many ways either around it, over it, or through it. And it is the decision of mine and mine alone as to if that wall stops me or not.
That's good. That's good.
Very, very much so.
That's self-talk. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So if you think of about maybe a scenario, well, I won't go there. So as you're building your company and doing your thing, who do you have a group of people you rely on to bounce ideas off of? how does that work? That process work? How do you determine who you will talk to about different situations?
So this may sound weird, but I have to just speak my truth, right? I spend a lot of time in prayer.
Okay.
And I know that and from where I am today, I can say that it is a true testament of the Lord guiding and showing. And sometimes it's through dreams, sometimes it's through connections made that that there was no other way that could have happened. And so, that has built up a core team for me. Mm-hmm. And that core team is made up. I'm trying to answer this with thinking of all the different things that we have going on. And I'll say, for example, for Storyville, it was a core team that was put together, and we have weekly, sometimes twice a week, check-ins and phone calls and all that to decide if this is the right time for a new, so that's my process.
Okay.
My husband too. He's a pretty good, not only judge of character, but just really in terms of just thinking about timing and who needs to be where, because it is huge.
Yeah.
Right. So you're getting a lot of shout outs. Deborah Francis out of New York is on with us. Sharonda Scott shouting you out. Judge Rachel Bell, who was a guest on the show last year, she's shouting you out. She says she loves the work you and LD are doing. So just want to make sure. I got to have a dear friend, my sister in Marietta, Georgia, Alicia Gibbs, who's tuning in. So and then it's like Monica Ladd, having had a conversation with DeLisa as a woman who has faced many challenges and setbacks, but never giving up on myself. I felt a connection to her and her ideas. After praying for a close direction, praying for a direction, be brought to you. You brought to her.
Yeah.
I hope to work with her. I have grown by just listening and following.
Oh.
Yeah. So
that's amazing. Wow.
Yeah. And Dominique Browning just checked in. So proud of you, DeLisa. So
thank you.
Yeah. So, hey everybody, we're here live with DeLisa Guerrier, Guerrier Development, and many other hats. Yes. We're coming up on the first half, on the end of the first half of the show. Wow. I tell you what. Yeah. So start getting your questions and comments together for DeLisa in the second half. We're going to learn more about DeLisa very shortly. So just getting you all prepped for that.
So I had a question for you, DeLisa. When it comes to Storyville, I guess it's two questions, but the first one is what was the inspiration behind doing it? And then how involved, if at all, were your kids?
Oh, that's such a great question. So first, I think, in real estate development, all we do is fill needs in communities, right? Where you see that there's a housing need or a need for a bakery or whatever it is, and you work to do that. Storyville was no different. It really was looking at the need for more family-focused entertainment destinations in Nashville. And I started off just thinking I would build this small little intimate whimsical park. I thought I'd spend $3 million. I said, I'll just build this. And I guess I was a few commas short, but
to say the least.
Yeah. But no, I mean, Nashville's market is one of the only markets left in the US that's not controlled by one of the large Disney, Universal type things and could sustain a project like this. Second, 4 out of 5 children are not up to grade level reading. And there's a study that shows that if we can get children to read for fun, anything, that it will significantly increase their test score. So really, Storyville was a way. So sorry. Storyville just was like I looked at it as a foundation to be able to get children to read for fun. And so that's what led to it. And then second, so my children have been involved. I'll say that I'm not going to say they're desensitized to it, but it's sort of like, yeah, the park's coming. You know, they've just grown. I mean, it's been 5 years for them, and my oldest, he's 11, so it started when he was 6. And
you mean you didn't just think this up like last week?
Time flies, but not that quick. So what it's funny because what we've been recently talking about, and we'll probably make a big formal announcement about this after we do our groundbreaking ceremony, is we're going to put together a youth advisory board so that we can hear the voices, and maybe that's for the actual theme park, or maybe that's for the literacy center, but we want to hear the voices of the youth. I will say I did have something exciting that I did. There was a book series that I got for my children for school, for Christmas last year. And it's called Trapped in a Video Game by Dustin Brady. And my 11-year-old read it, but also my 7-year-old. And these are chapter books. So he read the whole thing. And so I took that book and I called one of our illustrators and asked him to draw a ride based around this book. Of course, I didn't have permission of the author just yet, but I wanted to see their reaction on a book that they had recently read. And when I showed it to my sons, they almost fell on the floor, and they were like, the sand dunes, and they were like pointing out things that they read in the book that they imagined.
Wow.
They now see that I may get to go and ride through this story. Wow. I said, that is the impact. That is the impact that we want to make. And so that's been the extent of their involvement so far. But
Gotcha. Hey, DeLisa, we're up at the first half of our show today, and I know it's gone by fast. It's gone by fast for me, but we're going to give you a few minutes to grab some water. I'm going to grab some too, while Sherelle does our shouts out our sponsors. So we'll be right back with DeLisa Guerrier. Get your questions ready as we go to the second half.
Yes. So I'm so excited. I mean, like, I love it. Anything that deals with the imagination and kind of dealing with our children, I get excited about hearing it. So first, how are you, Lee? It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. I'm doing well. I tell you what, it's been, man, we've been on a ride around here.
Yeah, I bet. It's been a busy time for you. I can only imagine.
It has been, yeah. So we're headed to Memphis Friday for the Ravenwood Collierville second round of the playoffs, and looking forward to that. Looking forward to getting that W and coming back and playing whoever we need to play next back here in Nashville. And then we got college visit over the weekend with one of the teams, UNLV, that offered Lee to play football there. And then, and then he's got another visit next week somewhere. So it's an exciting time just to kind of watch your kids to see their vision and their dreams come true for them right in front of you.
Exactly. Make sure that you've had your Wheaties and that you're up on your energy drink so that you're ready for the ride, right?
All that. And, and then we've been very active with the Library Foundation with their literary gala, which happens. It happens this weekend. So Valerie's going to be running that show. We're co-host of the patron party and helping with the gala. So Colson Whitehead, who's a 2-time Pulitzer Prize winner, Nickelback Boys, and Harriet Tubman. He's authored those 2 books, and plus many more. Is the honoree. So it's going to be a great weekend. I hate I'm going to wind up missing it. We've been working on it for a while, but that's kind of, plus all the projects and stuff, how about you? I know you're on the go.
Definitely. And I was just actually wrapping up another session talking about the importance of building business credit and the importance of that and how that translates into capital and how that translates into strategy and all of that fun stuff. So always trying to work to help businesses identify ways to continue to succeed and continue to thrive, even in this climate. And as we talk about preparation for next year, so the majority of my conversations are how do I get ready, or how do I make sure that I'm closing out 2021 strong and making sure that the business is in place for 2022. So
phenomenal.
yeah.
Yep.
So I definitely want to, take this time again. Thank you all for joining in to Women with Grit. We're here tonight with DeLisa
Guerrier.
I'm sorry.
Guerrier.
DeLisa Guerrier. I got it now. And, definitely as you all are joining in, feel free to leave your comments in the chat function. We just want to know, who's joining in. Give us your name and then the city or state that you are joining in from. We did this on our last call. So if you weren't here last week, we'll have an opportunity to do it again this week. But we want to know who from our audience is sharing the actual links. And so we want to make sure that we give you guys a prize. The person who shares the most and has and tags and has the person who tags you in their post, we want to reward you for just, continuing to spread the word about Women with Grit. We want to get the stories out about these amazing and inspiring women who are doing phenomenal things around the world as well. So thank you all for taking the time to tune in. We want to make sure that we take an opportunity to thank our sponsors. So we have Lisa at MJC Insurance, and Lisa can be reached at Lisa at mjcins.com or 615-873-1988. So again, it's Lisa at MJC Insurance, and they will shop over 30 companies to get you the right homeowners, auto, as well as workers' comp. We've got Lauren at Moulette Investment Services for all of your benefit plan needs, 401k, disability, medical, as well as dental. And she can be reached at 615-627-0968 or Lauren at MouletteInvestmentServices.com. We have Terrell Perry, and Terrell can be reached at MouletteInvestmentServices.com for all of your wealth planning, life insurance, long-term care needs as well. You don't want to be caught in this season without it, right? Lee always talks about that, making sure that we're prepped and prepared. So be sure to do that. And feel free to reach him at 615-627-0968. And then for, I guess me on the ones and twos with business strategy management.
That's right. Don't forget yourself.
Where we believe in building businesses and teams who succeed in the long term. So our strength is really on making sure that it's executable, that it's actionable, and that it has long-term sustainability. And I want to ask you guys for a favor. Hey, listen, I was recommended for an award, actually a Founders Rising Star. And so I just want to put a little plug to say, okay, go vote.
Yep, I got my vote in. I got a vote in today.
Thanks, Lee. I appreciate it. High fiving from this side of town as well. So we thank you.
How can they vote?
What's that? How can they vote?
How can they vote?
I'll put it in the chats. TheRiceAwards.com. They have me in the category for Founders Rising Star. So
right.
And I appreciate the nomination. Whoever did, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
As well. So back to our main, reason for being here today, which is Ms. DeLisa. So thank you for taking the time again. We want to bring her up, and we want to make sure that if you all have any questions for DeLisa, please feel free to leave them in the chat function, and we will be sure to address those questions with her here. I know we have one from way back from Sharonda. So let's go and grab that one. Sharonda says, okay. She says, hello, Women with Grit. She's watching from Nashville, Tennessee. What area in development would you like the most?
What area in the development world do I like the most? That's a good question. I hope I answer this right, but I think that the most fulfilling part for me is knowing that I'm building something that's going to last a lifetime and impact communities. And I think that, I guess, if that were to translate to a part of the development, that would translate to the vision side, because to know it's like you have a blank canvas for this property and you are tasked with this responsibility to do something that, that is worth lasting a lifetime or two. So that vision side, I think is the part that gets me excited.
All right. Well, sounds good. You got a shout out from Valerie Hall Bridgeforth. Said she's definitely a born visionary, and she knows that that she's a big fan, and I'm a big fan of Valerie. So what's up? Hey, Valerie. And
Everybody's
then,
a big fan of Valerie's.
yes, yeah.
She's
And
great.
then Monica Ladd is Monica, uh, integrating education and entertainment works to make literacy attainable. Our youth advisory groups have been um, good in good in program development. You rock as a parent.
Oh.
Is that Goddard?
Uh,
Who? Monica Ladd.
I think it's a good development program. She was
Okay.
going to say probably,
Okay.
but
Gotcha. Okay.
I agree.
All right. Okay. Well, cool. All right. So we're going back down the mountain now. And I don't know that it's really going to be down. Probably be more level. But so you're in this business. You're in the development business, construction business, and you're taking all that now and marrying it together to do Storyville. Um, people, a lot of times people, when they meet you, they want to do business with you. So how can someone do business with you with what you're doing from a development perspective?
So on the Guerrier development side, I would say reach out to Amani, AMANI at GuerrierDevelopment.com. That's GUERRIER development.com. He handles a lot of our operations and helps set up meetings and sort of go through that process. And then if it's like a construction, we've been getting a lot of interest on the construction side and partnership side for the theme park. And so we have a construction management team or owners rep in place called Compass Partners. So Dan Broadbeck is our guy. He can be reached at dan@compasspartnersllc.org.
All right. Great.
Yeah.
So with Storyville, you kind of talked about how you came up with the idea and everything. When you think about the operational side, what do you see? What's kind of what's your end game? What do you see like when you're envisioning it operating?
Yeah.
What's an idea about that?
Well, it's so funny because I've always, for the last 4 years, I knew that I wanted to see this come to life, but I didn't necessarily want to operate a theme park. It's not really it's not on my resume just yet. I don't have that skill set. And so it's funny because theme park operators actually do exist. And we've been working with quite a few and looking forward to announcing the one that we choose to operate it. But I would say in terms of the look and feel and what we're shooting for just the overall experience, what we are going for is for this, it's called Storyville Gardens. So there's this huge gardeny feel, this whimsical, just sort of stepping into these, how do I explain it? Just a gardeny, whimsical place that has adventures around every corner. The park was designed to be an intimate setting. It's not 500 acres. It's not a 5-day walk around the park like Disney would be. It's more of a 6-hour day type thing. So you can do it in one day. You can do it over the weekend. And I'm sure even in those 6 hours, you'll probably want to come back the next day and do it again. But it's similar amount of attractions that Opryland had. So Opry had 27 attractions. We have 26. So we're not missing anything, but they're just condensed in the way that you don't have to walk a mile to get to the next one. And we were able to pull together a lot of technology and things that we have available today. And one thing I'm excited about talking about further, this is not set in stone, but even having where you have the VR glasses or magnifying glass, and you can see things around the park that you can't see to the naked eye,
Wow. Okay. That's
I
gonna
love
be
that.
when they come to life. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
So when you see this, what's been I know you've seen it, but what's been the response from people you've talked to in different communities that may have wanted you to, when you're trying to find a location? Talk to us about that process. I'm not
Yeah.
going to ask you the location.
No, don't. I wouldn't. I really don't hold water that good. I'm not a good secret keeper.
Okay.
In terms of, I want to tell everybody the surprise, but we'll get there soon. We'll be announcing soon. I will say that, that we have had a huge amount of support. And I think that a lot of that has come because I will say it happens at least twice a day where when you mention theme parks, someone has to tell you a story of how I met my husband, or I met my wife at Opryland, or that's where I had my summer job. I had season passes. I was there every day. And there's this huge emotional sort of void that has happened now that Nashville doesn't have a theme park and hasn't had one in the last 20 years almost. And so it's exciting for me to hear that, because people want that for their children. That's the reason I set out on this path. People want that for themselves. And so overall, we have had a huge amount of support. The unfortunate side is that, in this city, projects like this has been announced before and did not get completed. And most of the reasons I understand was financing one way or the other. And so, of course, it leaves people wondering, like, is it going to get done? And that's why we have been so quiet over the past 4.5 years to not let this out until we knew that we knew that we knew, that we had everything in place to be able to.
Yeah.
I love that. Now, one of the things, and we do have a question from someone in our audience, and I want to make sure that we have the opportunity to ask it. So Monica Ladd says, have you and Eld considered writing a book for future entrepreneurs, especially ones for young adults getting ready to enter the workforce?
So we have talked about writing a book at some point. Hadn't really figured out what the narrative would be, but that's a great question. And I'm sure if you'd ask my husband, he would say yes. But he's got a whole list of to-dos that I haven't caught up with yet, but I'm sure that's something that'll be in the pipeline.
Gotcha. Hey, everyone, make sure you're sharing our conversation today with DeLisa Guerrier. And of course, for your friends that are not on Facebook, let them know they can check us out on our YouTube channels, Women with Grit on YouTube, and they can check us out there. They can also go to our website, www.womenwithgrit.com, and check us out live. Thank you. So make sure you like and share.
Yes.
Yeah.
So DeLisa, one of the questions that we normally ask our guests is, when you think about the role of your success as it relates to your tribe, how important was your tribe in you becoming this amazing woman of grit?
It's interesting because I will say in my particular journey, there became a time that was necessary for me to be, how do I say it? It's like that head in the books. It's like that, and you see it with athletes, right? When they're about to in
zone.
Exactly, and they're about to get ready to go to the combine or whatever it is, they get focused to where there's no social time, and that's a sacrifice. And so I'll say that I've had some incredible prayer warriors that have been there for me to call at 1:00 in the morning. I had this dream, we need to pray. And I have, obviously long-term friends, but I think that they can all understand that for the last few years, it has been go time. you know,
Mhm.
and so it hasn't. I think that my husband, my mom has been a huge just support, and we kept it kind of intimate in that way for a while.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Yep. Now, what do you see? So, obviously, in visionaries, we'll come up with the vision, we'll see it happen, we'll get it going, and it's like we go down. It's like a downer because it's happening, and we start looking for something else to do.
I think that's a good point. So have you met my husband, Lee?
Yes.
I don't think I'll ever not have anything to do. No,
Right.
we're joking because my husband, he is go, 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 to where at night when it's bedtime, he crashes and then he wakes up at 5 a.m. and he's on full throttle again.
Uh-huh.
But I think for me, although that I am this broad, big picture visionary, I also am very appreciative of the details. And so sometimes I tell people, sometimes when I look at the big picture, I almost get overwhelmed and I have to reel it back in and focus on what is it that I need to do as a very next step. What is my very next step? And so I don't know if it's just that left brain, right brain thing. And I feel like I have a pretty good balance of both, where as much as I am about this big picture, I am probably even more so particular about the details.
Mhm.
And so that keeps me, I think, fulfilled.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll get down to I'll get in the spreadsheets, and it's not good at 3 o'clock in the morning when you know how it is, Lee.
I do. I mean, you have those mornings where you're like, you know what? I just got to go and get up and get going because I'm
Yes,
not gonna be able to sleep. I just have so much running through my head.
yes.
Yeah. So I think we all, all of us, and all of us, I would say, all of those people that are high achievers, whether they're entrepreneurs or corporate,
Yeah,
or corporate executives or what have you, just when you're a driver and you get those ideas, you get in that zone.
yeah,
It's
Mhm.
you just got to go, and you got to you realize that again. I'm not going to sleep, so I might as well get up and and
Get
get this
something
stuff
done.
done.
that's
Right.
right. That's
So that's why.
And, and I've said for a long time, it's so like the work never stops, right?
Mhm. Right.
And it's easy to be overwhelmed by it all. But I always say, if I can do one thing today
Hmm.
that furthers me down this path, and I talked a little bit about how we had our automotive company. Well, we
Right.
actually had a custom shop, a dealership. I had my brokerage, and I was running the development company. And listen, and then on the backside, I'm like, I want to build a theme park.
Right.
4 years ago, but
Right.
and I would look at it and say, well, if I could do one thing today that
Mhm.
furthers me down that path, then I'll give the rest of my day, putting my all in everything else. But yeah, it's that execution piece that really
Mhm.
makes the difference.
It
Hmm.
does. I mean, like for me, one of the books that I really enjoy is called The One Thing. And it's by, I think it's Gary Keller
Okay.
and I think Jay Papasan, I think are the two names that come to mind. Have you read that one?
I have not read that one. I
It's
have
a great book, but
Okay.
it talks exactly about what you're talking about, which is what is focusing on the one thing, and then once you close that out, then moving to the
Yeah.
next most important thing to do. So I love the fact that you referenced that.
Yes. I've got to check that book out.
Yes, that's a great one. Awesome. Okay, DeLisa, this has been so amazing. Really, we don't have enough time. We never do. We always come to the
No.
end. We're just like, man, that was really, really quick and an exciting time. So we thank you for your time. How can our viewers connect with you, engage with you further, and do you have any nuggets that you would like to leave with them?
Oh man. Well, if you guys would go and follow Storyville Gardens, that would be great. We've got a lot of things coming, and we'll have more ways to definitely engage with me personally. We are very intentional about our community give back. actually next weekend, so November 20th, we are giving away 600 coats to children in at the East Nashville YMCA and the Northwest Family Y in Bordeaux. So we, obviously always looking for community things that we could participate in. So feel free to reach out. My email is DeLisa.Guerrier@StoryvilleGardens.com. And then was there another question you asked? Sorry.
Any nuggets?
Oh, nuggets. I think I gave all my good ones away already. and I'll just emphasize that if you could do one thing a day that just keeps you on that path where your big picture is, you'll look back and realize how far you came.
Love it. I love it. I love it. All right, friends. If you have any last minute questions, shoot them in. But Sherelle's getting ready to wrap us up.
Yeah, it's StoryvilleGardens.com. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Storyville Gardens.
No worries.
Awesome. And Sharonda had a question for you. She wanted to know, what do you do to relax?
Oh, that's such a good question. Thanks for reminding me to do that, because somebody to ask me for me to say, you know what, I need to schedule that massage. I used to get weekly massages, but after COVID happened, I haven't done that. Sometimes I just totally unplug. This past weekend, I went out to a friend of mine. She has a farm in Kentucky and just got some puppy therapy. She has puppies. We were just hanging out with the puppies. I accidentally came home with one.
Uh-oh. That's a life changer.
It is.
Our furry four-legged friends.
Yes. You guys want to see him?
Yeah.
Sure. Aww.
Okay.
His name is Story.
Story. Okay.
That's so sweet.
Great.
Well, thanks so much.
Yep. Thank you. And then Valerie Bridgeforth says, this is genius. I'd love to see how, did you move that on me? Move that on me, or it moved on it on me.
This is iconic. That one.
There you go. That's fine. Yep. Oh yeah, this is iconically genius. I love to see how I can lend my help in the literacy part. I love everything I've seen you do. The literacy problem was discussed in my chair. I'm super excited to see this develop. I'm in touch with a ton of educators. Purpose Prep is the school I send all kindergartners to who know they need all the help they can get. This supports our kids immensely. Of course, for anybody that doesn't know, Valerie Bridgeforth is a hairstylist to the stars, and all the women that you see just kind of laid with their hair laid. She's probably done their hair.
Yes, no, and I appreciate that, and that's the type of support that has really been that has gotten us this far. Is people who believe in the purpose of what we're doing. So, thank you.
All right.
That is fantastic. So thank you so much, DeLisa. I'm just going to give a quick summary of some key nuggets of which you have shared in our time tonight. And so one, DeLisa talked about having her mother, a role model mother that really inspired her. So make sure that you have someone in your life who can inspire you to continue to drive and dig deep and bring out the best in yourself. It's not about the work, it's about the way you carry yourself. So just recognizing that the work is there, but how you show up truly makes a difference in your success. Know where your strengths are and play to them, right? Have partners or people that can help carry the balance or the synergy. So she talked about the offset that she has with her and her husband. So making sure that the partners and the people that you bring around you in your circle are those that can continue to create synergetic and balanced relationships. The only limits that exist are the ones that we set upon ourselves. So live limitless, right? Why put a boundary on yourself when you don't have to? Have integrity and surround yourself with people who you can lean on. And I love what she talked about, the 3 things that she uses to get projects done. the people, the package, and the purpose. So making sure that you keep the right team around you, that you have the right packaging of your product, and that you're operating in from a place of intentionality regarding your purpose. Relationships are so important, right? You can do business for money, but it's not always about the money. It's about, the mission, or making sure that you are doing business with people you know, like, and trust. You can't pay for peace of mind at the end of the day. And success is a decision. You have to make it every single day. So that's about being intentional about succeeding, and also having the right self-talk and the conversation that you have within yourself to help overcome those moments when you feel as if you've hit a brick wall and it's hard to continue. Build something that lasts a lifetime. That's talking about true legacy, right? She talked about how the theme park gives her an opportunity to build something that lasts a lifetime. Take a blank canvas and build something meaningful with it. Have people who can help hold your arms up. She talked about, having prayer warriors and people around her that helped her in those moments. And then also continue to invest in our children. When we invest in our children, we are in fact investing in our future generations. I read somewhere a quote that simply says, and I love it, which is that we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children, right? And so making sure that what we put back in is meaningful to them. Continue to bring imagination to life and recognize that you can do whatever you desire to do. Focus on that one thing that you need to get done today that brings you closer to your tomorrow. So thank you, DeLisa. This has been just so phenomenal.
It really has been.
With you.
And thank you, all of our listeners and participants in Women with Grit this evening. We really appreciate you. Make sure you share this with your friends. They can go and check out the replay a little later on this evening on our Facebook page, the Women with Grit Facebook page, or go to our YouTube channel and check out the replay. So thank you all again. Hopefully you all have picked up something this evening that will be a benefit to you. I know I have. I do need to start trying to focus on that one thing. I may be a cross of DeLisa and LD in my mind and the way I think, but maybe I need to start focusing on that one thing. So thank you, DeLisa. Thanks for your time, and thanks to your family for giving you an hour to us.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
You're welcome. And we're looking forward to hearing the big news on Storyville Gardens in the coming weeks.
Yes. Awesome. Well,
thank you. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week with another amazing guest on Women with Grit.
Yes. Who do we have?
Oh, Lee, I don't have it in front of me. I'll put it in the chat function.
We plan the shows a little early, weeks in advance. So sometimes that's
season in advance, yeah.
Yes. But it's going to be exciting. We do know that. Everybody have a great week, and we will see you soon.